All right, we are getting right into it here. We appreciate you all being here. Thank you, Rumble, for putting us up there on the homepage. I love guests that need no introduction. Like if I were to say Cher, you would know who I was talking about. Today's guest, not different. Jenny McCarthy, you know who I'm talking about. And Jenny has been at the front of many different causes, and I want to review some of that with her. She also has a great business line, great makeup line now that Susan is extremely enthusiastic about. Then after we finish speaking with Jenny, we will be with Alison Morrow, journalist, podcaster. Again, she was canceled yet again. And Jenny, when she gets in here, I just want to say she and I started on MTV back in the 90s, and we have remained friends ever since. And I'm so pleased and so grateful that she's joining us today. We'll get right to it after this. Our laws, as it pertains to substances, are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say. I'm excited to bring you a new product, a new supplement, Fatty. I take it. I make Susan take it. My whole family takes it. This comes out of, believe it or not, dolphin research. The Navy maintains a fleet of dolphins, and a brilliant veterinarian recognized that these dolphins sometimes developed a syndrome identical to our Alzheimer's disease. Those dolphins were deficient in a particular fatty acid. She replaced the fatty acid, and they didn't get the Alzheimer's. Humans have the same issue. And we are more deficient in this particular fatty acid than ever before. And a simple replacement of this fatty acid called C15 will help us prevent these syndromes. It's published in a recent journal called Metabolites. It's a new nutritional C15, pentadecanoic acid it's called. The deficiency that we are developing for C15 creates something called the cellular fragility syndrome. This is the first nutritional deficiency syndrome to be discovered in 75 years and may be affecting us in many ways, and as many as 1 in 3 of us. This is an important breakthrough. Take advantage of it. Go to fatty15.com/Dr. Drew to receive 15% off a 90-day starter kit subscription, or use code Dr. Drew at checkout for that 15% off, or just go to our website, drdrew.com/fatty15. I'm very excited to get right to my guest, Jenny McCarthy, everybody. Jenny, thank you for being here.
Drew, I love you, Dr. Drew. We do go way back. We go way back, and you've always had a special place in my heart.
And you likewise. In fact, when you were on The View, didn't I come visit you on your birthday or something?
The View.
Remember that?
One of the only nice things The View does is give the hosts a present for their birthday. So they say, pick your guest host and then pick your anybody else you want on the show to interview. So I have to have Dr. Drew. I love Dr. Drew. We have to have Dr. Drew. So you kind of made my birthday come true, my birthday wish. That's how much I love and respect you.
I was so appreciative. You're so sweet and so kind. And the last time we saw each other, there's some comedy embedded in what our catch-up is going to require here. Number one, last time I saw you was on your radio show when you were on Sirius, and we were both like, this COVID thing, give me a break. People are panicking about it. I'm not really that worried about it. And we were both right and wrong. We were both right. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's true.
But I want you to know something. Yeah, we were right and wrong. I didn't get the infectivity quite so much. I got I was sick just after I was with you, and it was brutal. It was a brutal illness, but it didn't deserve the whole world to be shut down for 2 years. That was insane. That was just nutty, cuckoo stuff. Oh, this is my reaction to the vaccine, where I took the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and I woke up with a spontaneous black eye, which is the presenting feature of transverse sinus thrombosis in the skull, which is a manifestation of the dreaded complication of that vaccine. And I looked in the mirror that morning going, oh my God, am I going to be the only male to get thrombotic thrombocytopenia purpura? Well, anyway, I made it through. And I took it only, I didn't even need it. I'd had COVID at that point, and I took it only because we were traveling. We were going to Europe, and we couldn't get on a plane. We couldn't travel. Couldn't do anything unless we had a passport with us.
I understand the amount of people. I understand the amount of people that had to do it. The people that were forced to put, food on their table, so they had to do it. Or for me, obviously, because of the history that I went through with my son, which I'm sure we'll get into, it felt very draconian. It felt very like Twilight Zone for me, because me shouting this from the rooftops 20 years ago, and then to have this all happen in my lifetime, it was very, very scary, freaky. Fortunately, there was something that came out of it, which is a lot of people woke up to not have blind faith into what people are telling you, especially government officials that have no right to be telling you what to do or forcing you to do that.
Yes, ma'am. 1,000%. And I'm one of those people that was sort of, so many things were laid bare for me that I did not know, I did not appreciate. And one of the things, I'm getting a little emotional when I'm saying this, because I want to say this to you. My hubris as a physician was in my way a lot. I'm trying to make apologies wherever I can, where that was excessive. And you are one of the people I was looking forward to apologize to, because I did not support you when you were, I'm getting emotional because it's not right. And it was sexist too. And it was sexist because, for two reasons. One was I was overlooking a mom's instinct, and you should never, ever, ever do that, ever. Mom may or may not be right, but you got to listen and you got to pay attention and support it. Number one. And number two, Jenny McCarthy is very, very, very smart, and you argue with her at your peril. So both things. It was my hubris, and I should have been more supportive, and I was not supportive. Thankfully, I was also not. I didn't ever speak ill of you or your position or anything else, but I feel very bad that I was not supported, and I just went to apologize. So there you go.
First of all, that was unnecessary, but also very nice. Thank you. I'm sure my mom appreciates hearing that, because you don't usually get them, and I don't even expect them, because I have such empathy for people going through their own journeys. What you learned in your own medical school, your own practice, we're locked into these belief systems. And I did too. My son was fully vaccinated because I trusted science. I trusted my doctors. Yeah. And it's not until you go through something that wakes you up. And that's why a lot of times when I meet people, I will stop and give them, I probably mentor 5 to 10 women a week, whether newly diagnosed children or pregnant women, just to give them, I don't tell them what to do. I just educate them in a nutshell, in an elevator pitch, if you will. And then I encourage them to go do their own research. That's the key. And that's what we learned from COVID, you guys, right? Do your own research. Don't have blind faith.
Yeah. And as far as apologies go, these people that brought mandates down upon people and made them sick as a result of those mandates, particularly young males who didn't even freaking need it, clearly didn't need it. They need to apologize. So my own enthusiasm with apologies wherever I can is to model what I'm expecting from people that really engaged in very egregious behavior during COVID. I would like people. I'm not one interested in retribution. I'm interested in the truth, and I'm interested in people that were excessive, acknowledging that so it doesn't happen again. It cannot happen again. We can't go through this again.
Amen. If we can't go through. So thank you for saying that. And there, to tell you the truth, there are at least a couple times a week, I'll get a tweet or a post that says, I was a nurse, I was a doctor, and you were on the middle of my bullseye in my office, and I have to apologize. So they are coming out and saying so. But again, I don't need it. I just don't want to ever see it happen again.
Yeah, you and I, as usual, are mind locked on that. But, we're going to find out more. A lot of people didn't watch the little tape that rolled in for this episode. Jay Bhattacharya is kind of my hero. When I first interviewed him, in the dark hours of COVID, I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that they had to do a devastating takedown of. This guy's he's a wonderful human being and a brilliant doctor and a great researcher. Like, that's the guy. And so when he became NIH director, I thought, this is like some sort of Shakespearean play I'm in now. This is poetic. And so he is doing good, as I would expect. And a lot is yet to come out. There'll be a lot of interesting and probably controversial and difficult to figure out, but really, I think for me, and you tell me if this is, you've mentioned the forcing stuff on people that don't need it. That's the part that really is off the rail. If a doctor and a patient, a mom wants to make a decision, great. I want them to have a full range of what that mom and what that doctor wants to offer. But to say you must do so, crazy to me.
Or Dr. Drew, to be shamed, to go back to that very moment that pushed Evan over the limit, I should say, in terms of toxic thresholds, immune dysregulation. I was in the grocery store and I saw the cover of Time magazine that year, and it said, in the corner, like, moms are saying that there's a connection between MMR and autism. And I had this weird pit in my stomach going, oh my God, Evan is due for his MMR. I wonder if this is a sign. So when I went to the doctor's appointment, I said, you know what? I'd like to talk more about this. I'd like to maybe wait, because I'm just having a mom intuition moment right now that is telling me not to do it right now. That pediatrician shamed me so bad in that office, so poorly, that I didn't know what to do except leave the room, because my husband at the time, and he apologizes now, but he was like, I'm going to stay in here. You get out of the room. She doesn't know what she's talking about, because the doctor made me feel so little and so dumb. We left that office, and it wasn't not far along before Evan had a seizure that resulted in cardiac arrest. Multiple times. So that just led me on my journey of, I cannot let this happen to other parents. And my son, of course, didn't ask to be a poster child for this. In fact, by the time he was old enough to Google his name, he said, I think we need to sit down and have a conversation. And then I had to literally have that conversation with him. I'm like, I promise, I know this is all new to you. And you're like, why am I all over the internet for autism? I was like, so I fortunately saved a bunch of thank you emails from parents over the years and had him sit down and read them so he can have a better understanding. But to get back to the point, it's a shame that doctors shame you into making decisions that you don't want to do. Always listen to your gut, always do the research, and always know you have the freedom to walk out of the office.
I know. Listen, I've seen now videos of people in doctors' offices where they're being shamed and stuff. It is so far from the practice of medicine, so far from the profession that I loved so much. And there's so much now that has been laid bare that is either confusing at best or disgusting at worst. And this is one of those things. I had a family member raise an issue about the hepatitis B vaccine. And I said, look, I was actually involved in the research on that vaccine. And we were concerned in the early 80s about vertical transmission, mother-to-child transmission of hepatitis B in China. We had no concerns here, none. We wanted it for healthcare workers, adults here, and some moms and kids in China. Guess what? Your baby emerges from the womb, they're given a hepatitis B vaccine. Why? Why is that happening? Well, guess what? World Health Organization decided that everyone has to have that in the name of something, equity, I don't know what. And there's absolutely no reason for it. And when this family member brought it up, the doctor said, well, they could get a needle stick. And he's like, this baby doesn't lift his head up yet. It's not, right? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And by the way, and there's like 3,000 cases of hepatitis B positive women, pregnant women in this country. And we know about all of them. And that child will get the B vaccine, I promise. But that's the ones that need it, nobody else.
It's so true. And let me ask you this as a doctor yourself. It's finally being uncovered, something I've known for many, many years, which is doctors getting kickbacks for their vaccination percentage. So pediatricians, yes. So pediatricians get enormous.
That's astonishing. I know, it's astonishing to me. I really didn't believe that was true because I didn't see how it was possible. There are laws in this state, in California, you're not even allowed to refer to anything related to you. You can't refer labs that you participate in. You can't do radio. You just can't do anything. So I think it must be through the insurance companies. Right? The insurance companies want to mandate that everybody's fully vaccinated. So they're saying, oh, if you get this many kids vaccinated, we'll give you X number of extra dollars at the end of the year. I suspect that's what happens.
It's exactly that. And think about this. If you're a pediatrician, and want to put your own son, let's say, through private school or whatever, now you're incentivized even more to get that 100% mark, because the higher percentage you have in your pediatrician office, the more money you get. And by the way, people, this goes up to about $80,000 in some cases.
And by the way, those are big practices. But even that, though, that's about what a pediatrician's salary is now. It's hard to make a living in pediatrics. So you're talking about high levels of motivation, right? And so I'm getting like the creepiest feeling when I think about this. You know, it's just, there's so many adulterated influences in medicine right now. It just, my skin crawls. The fact that, listen, during COVID, one of the things that was exposed is 70% of doctors are employed. They're employees. And so when these mandates come down from their employer, they're required to follow them or they lose their job. It's the opposite of professionalism. It's the opposite. So everyone needs to be really, really careful. It's why I got involved with certain companies that sort of help people get stuff into the hands of the patients. The doctor-patient unit has been completely blown apart. It's just adulterated by all kinds of things. Let me get off that. I'm getting weird. Let me talk about something. Because I'm getting.
We can go on and on.
Look what I have. This is better. I'm going to get something positive going. So you very kindly sent us some of your product, and this is an unrehearsed, unmotivated. I'm just going to throw it over to my wife, who I hear about your products in the background all the time because, go ahead, what do you think of them?
I love them.
See?
Formless is the company, and she has skincare and brushes and makeup. I love the lip and cheek tint. I use it every day. Her lip glosses are phenomenal. Paulina has stolen most of them, and the eyeshadows are great. But more than that,
stop. More than that, I've never. There it is. I've never had the thought. The topic of eyelashes in my head as much as since you said, Susan, your products.
So I have almond eyes, and it's really hard for me to put on eyelashes without them popping up on the side. And this was the first time I was able to put on lashes.
Jenny, we've been married for 34 years. 34,
yeah,
and I just learned about the eyelash phenomenon. So it took me this long. Because of you, thank you for that.
We should have put them on you today, Drew. That would have been fun.
So
thank you.
Those words mean so much to me because I worked so hard. I didn't go into this going, I want to create a brand. I went into it going, let me find a brand. Let me find one that's truly clean. Because a lot of times people say, oh, we're clean, but the FDA doesn't really regulate makeup. The very first time they did a big one was 1918. So I have an MTHFR gene mutation. I've got autoimmune conditions. I've got leaky gut. I have celiac disease. So I knew I needed clean. So I said, well, if no one's going to make it according to what I think is clean, then I'm going to do it myself. The problem was, I don't know what's freaking clean. So I kind of called the environmental working group. I'm sure you know who they are, Drew. EWG, you guys, .org. They are what the FDA should be doing. Yeah. They have doctors and scientists that do the work on ingredients that you should be using and that you shouldn't. So when I met with them and I told them, I want to create a beauty brand, skincare, makeup that is clean. They said, we love that you're doing this. And here is a binder of over 900 pages of unacceptable ingredients. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make a company? Because plus I want to made in the USA because I don't trust anybody. I want it to meet those restrictions. And it has to be gluten-free, talc-free, all these things, vegan, cruelty-free. And it's taken us a while to launch each one of them because they go through such rigorous testing. Like our mascara is one of the only few without hormone disruptors. They put endocrine disruptors inside mascara. and talc, which we know is not good. So many different things. So that's why I said, you know what, I'm making this for me, and I'm going to bring some people along the way that care about ingredients and their health. Especially at this age we're in now, I had to decide, am I going to go the route of chasing a cure or in the route of prevention? And that is the road that I am focused on. I'm in the road of prevention and prevention. Because, all these genes get activated, and I don't want any more autoimmune conditions that I already have.
Okay, I want you to know my behavior that I was apologizing for, I have corrected it, because just now when you were talking, I was like, yes, listen carefully to what she's saying. She's always ahead of the curve. And so, and right now, I'm just barely catching up, to be fair. If you look at what the sort of philosophy is now at the HHS, that's the team that's in charge. That is becoming a philosophy that I think that Americans understand we're not doing a great job with our health, and we need to do a better job. And when you start thinking about all the stuff we're exposed to, mitigating probably 30% of it might end up having a really significant impact on our health overall.
100%. And I was horrified when I saw other beauty brands say that they're verified by a certain company. And I go, let me go the next step. Who is verifying them to be clean? And when I did the research, you know who's verifying them? Themselves. Some of these cosmetic brands make their own, like I'll say Sarah's makeup. She's S verified. She made up her own criteria within her own world of what's clean. And that's how she verifies herself. So just got to be careful.
I'm having a little mic problem today. Sorry for the buzzing. But remember, we've changed mics the other day. That's what so I did. So it really interestingly, that reminds me of what I've been dealing with insurance companies for years, because whether or not somebody gets a treatment or stays in the hospital, for what the doctor that's treating the individual feels that patient needs is determined by criteria set by the insurance company. And people don't understand that. The game is, when I'd be seeing these patients on my addiction unit where needed so much treatment, and the insurance companies would always kick in after a day or two and go, get them out of there. I'm like, what do you get? This patient is suicidal. They're still detoxing. What do you want me to do? Well, do a doctor-to-doctor review, which is a peer review is code for we're not going to listen to anything you say. So I have to tell the patient, listen, your insurance company is going to run out here. We got to figure something out because it's expensive. I don't want you to be stuck with this. And she goes, I'm going to call my insurance company, which they always would do. And the insurance company always would say the same thing. Mrs. Smith, of course, if Dr. Pinsky would just tell us what you need, we'll go over the criteria. And of course, we'll get you. They don't tell the patient, we've been over it. You didn't meet our criteria. That's why we're kicking you out. No. So then it gets even worse. I got to tell the story. So then I will complain. Then if I make a complaint to the insurance commissioner, right, then the insurance company will come back around and go, oh, Dr. Pinsky, I understand you don't like our business practices. I'll tell you what, we're going to decertify you. You'll no longer be working for this insurance company. And then if I make more complaints, they go back to the hospital and threaten to decertify the entire hospital. That is the amount of leverage that these insurance companies apply. That was on the psychiatric side. It's a little different on the medical, but it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So
wait, can that be changed at all? Is it being changed? Is it being worked on to being changed?
If we could just change it to empowering the doctor's opinion in some way, both in tort law. Like, why did you do that, Dr. Smith? It was my opinion. It was in the best interest of the patient. That should be a defense in a court of law. It also should be a criteria for continued care. But I don't know if you saw that video flying around of the surgeon trying to get a surgery approved for, I think it was a breast cancer case, and she couldn't get it approved. And she videotaped herself doing one of these peer-to-peer reviewed. And I actually, Caleb, I want to get her in here. Emily, if you're listening, I want to get that doctor in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, you're stirring me up in ways I did not expect. I'm upset with a lot. Let's also talk about The Masked Singer. Okay. Yes. I'm of the opinion, I know it probably doesn't feel quite this way to you, but I think that's one of the best produced shows on television. They are contending with so much. And you might not even see a lot of it because a lot of it is, getting the songs cleared and song selection. Oh, here's me talking to you. Can you see this?
I love it. Yep.
It was so much fun.
You were so awesome. Reveal. I was like, no way. Look at your face.
And I was looking at you. I was like, Howard Stern, Adam Carolla, really? Really? You get that close and don't get all the way to me.
I'm a great judge, but even I have blonde moments. But that show is so well produced.
So well produced. But that's what I wanted to say. You are a great judge because the clues you guys get are truly obscure. And I don't know how you get. They're not tipping the judges off, everybody. This is all coming out of their own heads.
And what's really helpful for me, this is my cheat code, was that I had a radio show for 7 years. I interviewed people most of my career. So I'm kind of a little bit more knowledgeable with what people's backstories are. Whereas, Robin Thicke and Nicole and Ken were only Googling themselves their whole lives. No. So this way I had a little bit more of an edge knowing about people.
I get it. And so one of my motivations to going in there was because of you and Ken. I know Ken very well too. And I don't know if you know this, but when Ken was still practicing medicine, I used to have him fill in for me on the radio in the very early days.
Wow.
Are you aware of that? Isn't that funny? Because I don't know if you know this, he was an excellent doctor. He really was an excellent doctor. He's I'm sure you can see how bright he is, but he was a very, very skilled doctor with great judgment. And I thought, hey, I can trust this guy. And he was great.
Hey, Drew.
I love Ken.
Hard to do Mouse Singer? Somebody wants to know.
I'm like, hey, Ken, what's this? What's this?
He'll know. He's very good. He's very good. So somebody asked a question, Susan. There's a question about...
was it hard to do the Mouse Singer? I mean, tell everybody what you had to go through to do it.
This is the part that you don't get to see, Jenny, is so they, I called, I go, I should be on that show. I know Candy, I know Jenny, we should do this thing. And they call you and they audition you. Okay, you're good. Then they start giving you song ideas, right? And they start putting together a costume. Like, what do you think you should be? And we weirdly, both I and the producers said eagle. I don't know why, but we both said that. Isn't that odd? And then they start building the costume, and you're going in for costume fitting. But the hardest part was song selection. They have a real difficult, at least I had a difficult time getting to the song I wanted and then getting it cleared. I wanted to do, what's the Queen song that's so famous?
Amadeus.
I wanted to do that Queen song. I forget what it's called. But I worked on 30 songs before they finally got to the one.
I wanted to do Eurythmics. Sweet Dreams.
Yep, she wanted to be Eurythmics.
That would be like Love Line.
What got screwed up for me is they tell you, lean into the character. The character should be guiding you. Lean into the character. And when the costume was getting done, I was like, oh shit, this is a rock eagle. I was thinking more ballads, and I'm trained in opera back in the day. I was an opera singer.
Right. So
it's like, this is hard for me.
Yeah, but by the way, you were phenomenal. Like I did not know that you could sing like. And I was just like, that's why I wouldn't have guessed it was you. Like I didn't know there was a voice like that.
Well, it was not my best vocal moment, to be fair. And
also tell everybody how you had to keep it secret and you had to have an NDA.
They make you sign an NDA. They made Susan sign an NDA. And I was singing in a bar in New York, Phantom of the Opera, and I suddenly had some problems with my voice. So they sent me into an ENT. Lo and behold, I'd bled into my vocal cords. And so I had to go to vocal rehab. And they had this vocal rehab person come to my house 3 days a week. And then my son was living with us at the time, and he goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to sing we just made up. I'm going to sing the national anthem at Dodger Stadium. That's all. We're just preparing for it. And after she kept coming, he goes, 3 days a week? Why is there somebody here 3 days a week? We were like, sign this. We had him sign the NDA too.
Smart.
Isn't that funny?
It's so funny.
During the
pandemic,
such a fun
show.
It's brilliant. It is genius. And the producers clearing the songs, the dancing and the pyrotechnics and you guys, and there's the lighting, and there's just and people don't know you. So you sing the song, you get it together, you rehearse once with the dancers, you come in, you do a dress rehearsal, and then an hour later you perform. That's
exactly
it.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
I can't even barely sing happy birthday. I'm usually mouthing happy birthday because my voice is so bad. And sometimes they'll want the whole cast to sing like an opening number and cry to the producers. And I'm like, you guys, I can't sing. And I'll have to come out and sing a line. And they called season after the Shrek one, and they said, we're all laughing so hard in the control room because you sound so bad. You sound so bad.
Well,
so I had to go in and loop my voice.
Yeah. They're very kind with the auto-tune and the looping and stuff, so I'm sure they want your best foot out there. So that's nice. Even though they humiliated you, how dare they? I'll speak to those people.
No.
Listen, I have to take a little break here. Do you want to I wanted to bring your son by to get a little sort of a promotion for his YouTube page. I hear he's doing some interesting stuff. So let me go on break for about 3 minutes, and then when I come back, you bring him on in, and we'll chat with him a little bit too, okay? Done.
I love it.
Jenny McCarthy, everybody. Okay. The Wellness Company knows that taking charge of your family's healthcare is a top priority, and that's why they're constantly innovating to deliver the products and services to help you be rationally ready. Be sure to have the medical kit for kids on hand, whether you're a parent or grandparent. It treats 20 childhood conditions, including nausea and vomiting, allergies, asthma, inflammatory illnesses, even bioterror, God forbid. Listen, croup, ear infections, lice, it's all available in the pediatric emergency kit. You can also order the kids kit with an EpiPen should your child be at risk of anaphylaxis. And those EpiPens are carefully sourced and well priced relative to other EpiPens in the market. All 7 kits, each customized for a different purpose, come with a telemedicine consultation and a guidebook. Skip the scramble to an urgent care waiting room full of sick people and expense, or a pharmacy where there's no guarantee they'll have what you need. Go to drdrew.com/TWC for 10% off any medical emergency kit, or the supplements for that matter. That again is drdrew.com/TWC. We are stocking up this summer with products from our friend at Active Skin Repair. This, of course, is the hydrogel hypochlorous acid. It also comes in a spray. It's great for adults, children, kids. Has an antimicrobial. That's the secret ingredient, which is hypochlorous acid. Been used in hospital for years. It's also a great soothing agent for bug bites, wounds, sunburns, which I may be using in a few minutes. Also, speaking of sunburns, I use their hyaluronic acids hydrating serum every day, and I certainly will be using it as soon as I get out of the sun. So if you'd like to stock up this summer, these are great products. Go to drdrew.com/skin repair to get a discount off of what is already a great price.
I wasn't all Dr. Drew or anything.
Why would I screw myself? What am I, Dr. Drew?
And of course, Paleo Valley, that favorite list keeps getting longer. Beef sticks, superfood bars, bone broth, and now their polyphenol-dense organic coffee, which just happens to pair beautifully with their grass-fed and finished bone broth powder, chocolate especially. Coffee is superior to others because of its special ingredient, which is organic coffee fruit extract, which is high in polyphenols, powerful oxidants that shield and protect your body from stress and maybe even reduce aging. I'm a big fan against reducing oxidation. Store-bought is often old and has lost most of its rich polyphenol content. Paleo Valley is sourced from organic, sustainable farms in Honduras and Peru. They think of everything at Paleo Valley, fresh roasted, and of course, roasted using only solar power in the U.S. Paleo Valley tests for pesticides, mold, mycotoxins. It is low acid and gut friendly. Go to drdrew.com/Paleo Valley for a 15% discount on your first order, and better yet, subscribe to save 20% and pick up some bone broth as well. That is drdrew.com/Paleo Valley. Jenny McCarthy is my guest today, and I could not be happier. And I am going to meet her son in just mere moments here. If we can cut to that. Is he in there? There he is.
Yes, here he is. This is Evan Asher. That's Dr. Drew.
How's it going, Dr. Drew? Pleasure to meet you.
Hey, Howard. It's a pleasure to meet you too, sir. So I wanted to give you a chance to promote your page. Your mom was telling me about it. I thought, bring him in here. Let him talk about it.
Well, here I am. Hey, so yeah, my channel on YouTube is called Gaming USA @_Gaming USA. We do all different kinds of content genres on there. So like live action, adventures, movies, gaming, etc. Like if you are like on YouTube digging for all kind of content, you found the channel, Gaming USA. That's it right there.
It looks great. We see it alongside of you. You see we have put it up there. And give us the address again and who is using it? Is it people your age primarily, or do you want old farts like me in there?
It can be all ages. Like it's just friendly for all of the living community. It's friendly for everybody. So yeah, basically it's @gaming_USA.
@gaming_USA. Are you on social media also?
I am. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok and YouTube mainly.
Same tag, same
Evan J.
@gaming_USA.
Asher on Instagram.
Oh, you're talking about the tags. So on Instagram, it's Evan J. Asher. And then TikTok is E. Asher98.
But he's really trying to get to that 30,000 subscribers right now. So you got to go subscribe on YouTube. Right
Yeah,
now.
I'm so close.
He's close.
Less than
the
700
gaming
away.
on YouTube. All right, everybody.
Yep.
We've got the whole Rumble army there. Go support him. Do it. Go do it. And those of you listening on X, why not?
Thanks,
Yes.
Dr. Drew.
Let's see if
I
we can get him
appreciate
over
you.
the threshold. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Drew.
Good job.
Pleasure to meet you, man. Pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Dr.
then
Enjoy the rest of
Jenny,
your day.
let's.
Thank you.
Have we left anything out of our conversation? Was there anything more to sort of get at you
Just
wanted to promote or get to?
Well, that's nice that you just say it. I just want to remind you that the Formless Beauty Skincare is for men too. So I'm going to send you your whole own basket as well.
Oh, man, you can see I need it. And let's I don't know about you, but I've become, as a result of the COVID thing, I've become sort of a free speech absolutist, and a more of a freedom fighter than I ever knew I was. I'm guessing you're in the same camp. And I just think those of us that we said earlier, how we can't let this happen again, mandates, lockdowns, these things, no more. No. We need to get back to the basics of what the principles upon which this government was founded.
That's absolutely right. And I told Bobby, Bobby Kennedy, of course, I said, whatever you need, I'm here. You need anyone on a soapbox, again, to help out, spread the word, I'm here. So I'm still actively trying to fight and all that.
All right. Well, I'm out there with those guys quite a bit, particularly with, as I said, Jay Bhattacharya and Macri and these guys. So if there's something, stand by. You might be. They're very. Yeah, I know, but they'll be like, it'll be on a Tuesday. You'll hear from me. It's like, can you get to Washington by Thursday? They do stuff like that a lot. So prepare yourself.
That's the tough part. That's the tough part. But
I know.
My heart is in it, and I do where I can. So I'm here to serve. Service to others, I think, is what we should all live by, the motto we should all live by, and that's what I plan on doing the rest of my life. So call on me. Meaning making, listen to your mom on this one. Meaning making is an important ingredient in a life well lived, and most meaning is found by serving others. That's it. All right,
you're absolutely right.
Hope to see you again soon. Maybe see you in person.
We're developing a game platform.
Yeah. That's community.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Feel good.
Next up, the
That's
Dr.
right.
Drew
That's
Hype
right.
House.
Doing something.
I
You have
love
a
it.
What's
trademark.
that, Caleb?
Thanks, you guys.
Next up is the Dr.
right.
Drew Hype House.
Thank you.
I don't even know what that is. All right, Brad.
Thank
See you later.
Bye, guys.
That's those
What is
collections,
that,
Drew.
Caleb?
So it's like a collection whenever you get like a group of like 7, up and coming YouTubers, and they all put in money to go live at some fancy mansion and film all their videos all in a mansion.
Oh, right.
Usually like young 20s and
Yes,
under 20s.
yes.
Yeah. They all get together and bad
I've
things
heard of
tend to
that.
happen, but yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay, so is Alison standing by? Is she available? Is she there yet, or I get going too soon?
She's here.
Because I've got other things I can do here. She's here. Okay, let's Alison, journalist, podcaster, TV reporter. She's got a lot of. She's been with us before. We appreciate you coming back, and we particularly caught my attention was that she's canceled yet again, and this time for standing next to a weed.
I thought I was finally done with being censored on YouTube, but I have a pasture. We are farmers now, and we let one weed grow 9 feet. so we could take a picture with it and a little short video, and we posted on YouTube, world's tallest weed. And they said by manual review, they've confirmed it's not suitable for most advertisers, which obviously shows they don't actually manually review, unless maybe their advertisers Bayer Monsanto, and that's why they don't like it, because we didn't spray it with Roundup. I don't know. So I'm not sure why, but they just love to take me off no matter what I'm doing. And you know what's funny? This is on my farming channel, and I was really specific about how I set it up. I made it my husband's, like, whatever they, IP address or whatever they ask you for. So I put it under my husband's name. I put it, it all goes to him. So it should all look like it's him, because I just wanted to have this shadow channel where they wouldn't follow me. But unfortunately, I guess my cover has been spoiled.
Blown yet again.
I guess so.
So what is occupying you these days? What's coming up for Alison?
I am focusing on trying to milk a cow. Well, first I have to impregnate her, but that's what we're doing now. I went from a TV reporter who was covering the environment and covering agriculture as part of the environment. I started to get really interested in food and health and all the stuff you just talked about with Jenny. And I just decided I wanted to try it for myself. So my current project is we got a dairy cow, and I just thought you just grab the dairy cow and, you got someone to come artificially inseminate, which is a little bit of a graphic process if anybody knows how you do it. And then you just have a calf and then you milk her. Like, I just thought every cow just comes up to you and like, come on and milk me. And that's not how it works. Apparently, they're very scared of people. If you haven't trained them, they don't like it. So literally for months, I have just been with my daughter standing there trying to hand feed this cow so that we can get her to then let, an AI tech put her entire arm basically up her back end. And then after 10 months, we'll be able to hopefully touch her teats and get some milk out of it. And I'm spending thousands of dollars doing this. Meanwhile, I go to the grocery store and it's like, milk, $4. I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy. But I don't know. I'm fascinated by the whole process. I will get milk out of this cow. That is my next project. I'll come back for an update in like a year and see if we're actually drinking any of that.
You've learned more about a cloaca than you ever wanted to know, it sounds like.
I'm not sure I know what a cloaca is. What is do I want to know?
That's what the guy was sticking his hand up in.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was from Loveline.
So there you go. So as it pertains to health of the country, are you satisfied with the direction HHS is taking things? And is it too slow for you? Or do you have notes? Are you paying attention to all that?
Oh man, I am. I'm paying attention to it. Probably not as closely as a lot of people, because I'm actually trying to do it here on my property. I'm trying to, just overturn the system. I had a friend I was talking to the other day. She was in from LA, and I said how I just kind of decided to pick up my ball off of the court that I was in as a reporter, like in that system in television news, and just leave. I just didn't want to play the game anymore. I realized you weren't going to change it. It was not something that I was going to be able to rearrange, to feel like I was a comfortable as a journalist with what I was going on TV reporting. And now I look at the larger system in which broadcast news or mainstream journalism works. And I have a very hard time believing we're going to actually fully change that, though I appreciate the efforts that I'm seeing. And she said, well, I guess you could just run away. And I said, well, I didn't run away. I just started farming because I want to start a new system. There's a chance that someday I'll be carted off to jail over raw milk. I have no idea. Here I am. I want to drink out of my own cow. Is that going to be something you're allowed to do in 5 years? I don't know.
Right.
But, I look at the efforts and I think we're talking about stuff. At the very least, we're talking about stuff that would have been totally anathema even 7-10 years ago. And that's wonderful. The fact that people like you and I can have a conversation publicly about these topics without, being banished off into some forest somewhere where no one's willing to talk to us anymore, though that's kind of the life that I want to have at some point. But, you couldn't bring up vaccines 10 years ago. You couldn't talk about some of the chemicals that are in our foods. People would have told you were completely crazy. And I lived that as a TV reporter. I think one of the reasons that I was put on the environmental beat was because my boss thought I was a little weird. You know, I brewed my own kombucha and I went to farmers markets. I like to hike on the weekends. And he was like, okay, you know, this girl, maybe she can handle the environmental beat. But the problem is when you hire somebody who starts to look into that stuff and is interested in it, then you have to say, well, whatever she finds, right, we're going to listen to what she has to say. But that was not the case in TV news. And so now looking at where we are, it's incredible to me that we're having these conversations and that the mainstream news, even if they're not necessarily giving it fair coverage, that they are covering some of the topics that I think, you know, when I was in the business, they just never would have. So I do give credit to this administration for at least making those conversations more quotidian so that the rest of us can start moving it into a direction where you do have some change.
Yeah, there's a lot that interests me, what you're just saying there, in that people, you know, your sort of expectation is that you're going to be silenced or edited or controlled in terms of what you're able to talk about and report on. That is not the country I grew up in. The country I grew up in, you said whatever you wanted. You said whatever you understood to be your truth, and you defended it. And you tried to ascend to the truth. There was no narratives. There was no, sort of crucible that had to be carried. That is a new phenomenon of the last 20 years. And it is, as you said, anathema to the principles of this country. And it's sort of interesting to me that your expectation is it would be that way, and that now something new is happening. This is we're returning back to the basics. I got news for you. This is how it was always supposed to be. There was not supposed to be censorship. There was not supposed to be people telling you what you could or could not say or do or believe. And there were certainly not hoaxes all over the place. And speaking of hoaxes, what do you make of climate change now?
Oh my God, you really had to go there, didn't you? You're gonna all of my old peers are gonna look at me and say, "That's it, I'm done. I'm unfriending Alison." I don't know. I don't know what to think of it anymore. I have to say that one of the topics that I am very interested in now is geoengineering. I'm very skeptical of what our own government has done to the environment and our weather patterns through geoengineering. You know, like that's another topic. If you had told me when I was a reporter 7 years ago that people sprayed the skies with, I would have been like, these people are crazy. And now this is just something that even ABC News talks about openly. So I've had some very smart people on my show who think climate change is just, it's completely made up. And those people are very smart. They're far smarter than I am. They've done far more research than I have. And I have to listen to what they're saying as a viable possibility, right? I have not dug into it deeply enough to have come up with like a firm, this is what I know is happening. I know that there are farmers who can't water their hay fields right now. I know there are wildfires in places that, like, okay, I realize there's forest health problems and stuff like that. And that's a huge issue. You know, we haven't had fires. We've been stopping them. So then we have all this underbrush and everything. But I think farmers will tell you, honest farmers will tell you, like, it's drier. There are issues with hot temperatures, and people have issues with that. What's causing it? I don't know. And I just don't buy the narrative that I used to push for a long time, that like it just is man-made carbon dioxide in the air, and that we have to all drive electric vehicles. I don't buy that anymore. But I don't have a solution. What do you think about it now?
Well, I think being confused about it, not knowing what to think, is a very honest sort of position to take, because climate changes. It just does. It always changes. And whether or not humans have a significant impact, probably have an impact, right? That'd be sensible. Can we do anything about it measurably to make it different? I don't know about that. That's a gigantic leap from climate goes up, climate goes down. Humans probably have some impact on it to, we're going to fix it. No. That's a whole different matter. And if you really, and the people that are so concerned about it, like look at California, right? So they're going to make everybody drive electric vehicles. In the meantime, the emissions saved across 10 years of eliminating gas-powered vehicles are completely undone by any one of our fires last year. Completely. Now, if you were really concerned about the environment, your first order of business would be to control those fires. And I will tell you, as somebody who's lived in Southern California my whole life, they used to have giant departments of forestry management. And you'd look up in our foothills here, and they would always have tractors up there and be cutting fire breaks. And they stopped all of that. Why? Because it was disrupting initially it was because a mouse couldn't migrate properly across the fire breaks. That's why they abandoned the whole thing. But there were literally year-round forest management. So when the fires broke out, there was not much fuel there, and there were giant fire breaks, and there were strategies, and there were teams in place. That's all gone. That's all gone. Now, if you were really concerned about the environment, then you would do that. You would correct that, because that in 1 year undoes 30 years of everybody driving electric vehicles. And the other thing for me is I was big in the ecology movement back in the 70s. This all started in the 70s. And then we were convinced there was going to be worldwide famine, that acid rain was going to destroy agriculture, particularly in the eastern part of the country, and there would be an ice age. We were 100% sure. This was not something, this was science, man. And you were not listening to us. You were anti-science. That was 1977. So it gave me a little bit of perspective on all this.
Okay, so you said, though, that we're in this new era of don't question the science, but you're saying that back in the 70s, it was exactly the same way. So is it different now?
No, we attempted the same thing. We attempted the same thing. We were loud like that, and we were we were reinforced. There were movements and things. The ecology movement. You ever seen the ecology flag? Put the ecology flag up, Caleb. But it didn't have the same, the same extreme, influence on people's lives that today it seems to. I don't know if it's social media or media capture or whatever, but yeah, all that stuff. But back in the day, we were groups of scientists that were yelling loudly, and Time Magazine ran articles about it. And you can find, and that's another thing you'll find, Caleb, Time Magazine, front of the Time Magazine, or maybe it's Newsweek, coming ice age. But people didn't panic about this shit. They didn't go into panic. They weren't so easily manipulated by the media. They would just listen and go, I'm not sure, maybe we'll do something about that. Now people fly into these panics, and if you're not with them in the panics, it's because you don't care. You don't care enough, which is bullshit. There is the ecology flag.
That's a Department of Ecology?
There it is.
Really?
No, that was... Much like you have the rainbow flag now, we had the ecology flag back in the 70s.
Oh, okay, I see.
You're too young for all that. See?
I see.
Okay.
Well,
and they get the Time Magazine, if you can, with the globe on the front of it, and the coming ice age, I think is the title on the Time Magazine. I was an enthusiast for all this. And when it didn't come true, I thought, hubris, not a good thing. Panic, not a good thing. Humans have a way of solving problems. We reflexively deal with what comes our way. But go ahead, Alison, I interrupt you.
Well, I was just thinking about how there has been so much focus on climate change in the media and so little focus on so many really persistent and bad, imminent threats to the environment that we just don't talk about. And I think one of the things that I started to question was this. First off, climate change is a political lightning rod. It splits people up who would otherwise maybe be able to agree on, like, I don't want to spray Roundup on my weeds. I don't want polysorbate in my foods. Like, well, you don't believe in climate change. Well, we're not going to work together. We hate people like you. Well, we hate people like you because you believe in climate change. So it's a very divisive politically topic. And I think it keeps people who might otherwise actually work on some of these really serious problems. I mean, like, the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, for instance. People would maybe care about this, but it turned into this badge of honor for one side and badge of rebellion for another, to the point where it was hard for people like me who were not a Republican or a Democrat, like didn't really fit into either party, to have conversations with people, or even like find folks who were like-minded who wanted, 100% grass-fed beef, for instance, and didn't want chemicals in their food, to like say I had also conservative values as well. Well, they would always look at you kind of with a side eye because of climate change, because it got sort of put into this like, if you cared about the environment, you must be somebody who's like forcing people to drive an electric vehicle. And so I really think it's had, perhaps intentionally, I don't know, it has had that effect of really, I think, being politically divisive and keeping folks who might otherwise work on serious environmental issues from working together. And I wonder about that sometimes, about that focus.
Yeah, we weren't like that then in the 70s. It wasn't that kind of thing at all. It was a sort of spirited debate, really, what you would say. But I bring this up because you have a First Amendment lawsuit underway. Yes. I'm interested in free speech. I'm interested in being able to say these things and not being canceled, whether it's your weed on your field or whether it's climate change or whether it's any of these issues or, inseminating cows. You need to be able to speak about it. So what's happening?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the judge dismissed the case over the statute of limitations. So it's done. Oh. Yeah. And it was it was a 2-day interpretation. Your producer reminded me of the interpretation over the statute of limitations with Trump's recent trial, and how, like, if you want to see something go to trial, you'll be like, oh yeah, there's a rule that'll allow you to have 25 years to file. But if you don't want something to go to trial, you're like, oh, you missed it by 16 minutes. Sorry, can't. And so my attorneys had one interpretation of the expiration date, essentially, and the state had a different interpretation. And it was literally a matter of like a day and a half. And the judge went with the state, which I guess, was not surprising that she sided with them. So I asked my attorneys if I should appeal. They said that I would never win. The state was asking for attorney's fees, for me to pay their attorney's fees. And I was in a position, I just did not have it didn't seem like it was the right thing to do to appeal it. It was really tough. It was very shocking, silly shocking.
Kayla's putting the Time magazine's up now. The big freeze is coming. There it is. Yep. And then the acid rain one.
There you go.
Acid rain, everybody. The silent plague. And then it becomes Arctic meltdown. I mean, which is it? Is it the Arctic meltdown or is it the big freeze, everybody? Which is it? Come on now. But let's put the case to the court of public opinion. What were you alleging?
The Washington Department of Natural Resources, for which I was shooting videos about wildfire and forest health. I was working on the communications team after losing my job. Well, sorry, I quit television news. I lost my job at DNR over my podcast. So when I quit TV news, I took a job as a communications specialist at DNR. I was doing these wildfire videos. They knew I had a podcast on the side. They encouraged me to continue it. Everything was fine until I started interviewing doctors and scientists during COVID who were censored. They said that they had a vaccine mandate, and as a communications department official, I was not allowed to talk to people who were, quote, undermining their mandate. I said it was on my personal time, using my personal gear. They couldn't tell me who I could associate with or what they could say on my free time. They're the government. I have a First Amendment right. They disagreed and fired me. So we filed the lawsuit. And unfortunately, I'll never know what would have been decided. I was fascinated to be able to go through the process and see how this whole thing worked. I was probably more interested in that. To be able to show people what it was like. So it's, it was shocking to me that it came down to just a statute of limitations issue. But like I said, I mean, I think the real fight, honestly, Dr. Drew, is that people will just keep talking. I really believe that protecting the First Amendment, if we just keep talking and we're not quiet, will not require attorneys anymore to sue in a corrupt judicial system. So if we had all kept talking and refused to have been silenced during COVID, I don't think people like me would have lost our jobs. It would have been impossible to come after everybody. But because so many people were scared, there were more consequences. It was kind of ironic in that regard. People were quiet because they were afraid of the consequences, but because they were quiet, there were more consequences. And so if we just keep talking, we will protect the First Amendment. If we quiet down and think that attorneys and lawsuits are going to save the day for the Constitution, I think we are wrong. So keep talking. That's my message for everybody.
I agree.
That is the best way.
I agree, but the people were, I guess I'll use the word legitimately scared. They had reason to be scared. I think the other thing to keep an eye on is how far government is able to go. And that we have to figure out ways to not let that happen again, because people didn't want to lose their job. People didn't want to lose their reputation. I understand that. You're going to have to be courageous next time. I didn't expect to be using the word courage at this point in my life, but the courage was required, and it's going to be even more required next time, because we all know what this is. We all know what they do to us, and we can't. And if enough of us, it's like Corolla always says, if we'd all just gone to the beach, they couldn't have closed the beach. We'd all just shown up that day,
right?
As opposed to them getting that one. Was he not a surfer? He was on some kind of board, and he was arrested. If we'd all been there lying on the beach, there would have been no arrest. I mean, it's just it's
right.
Beyond. I would love the individuals to be held accountable that told you that we have a mandate and you're undermining our mandate. Those people, I'd very minimum want an apology from them, but those people need to be held accountable.
Yeah. Well, the Commissioner of Public Lands, Hillary Franz, who was the chief, I had a manager under her, but she was ultimately my boss. She ran for governor during, this whole process, right around the time we were filing lawsuits. So when you're dealing with, she's, very high up in the Democrat Party, she was running for governor, and you think that the judge in my case doesn't, she was appointed by Biden. She doesn't know these people. They don't all know each other from the past. I mean, how do you have justice, I guess, in a system like that? If you think about my situation just as its own little microcosm, here I am, I'm suing someone who's very popular, who has, because Washington's a left-leaning state and has a lot of connections in the Democrat Party. She was running for governor, and I have a judge on my case that was appointed by Biden. How can you? I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't. If you feel called to sue over the Constitution, look, I did it. I'm just saying that can't be our only play. We have to be willing to just do the thing, to just say no when your doctor tells you have to have this, to speak out when the government says you have to shut up. At some point, okay, they tell you that raw milk can't be sold, it has to be pet food. Well, you know what, then I'm going to get my own cow. I guess I'm one of those people who just doesn't learn her lesson when it comes to being told to sit in timeout. So that's what I'm doing now. And I just encourage other people, whatever that is for you, there may come a time where you're going to sue and change a law, but just the action itself, it does make a difference. And like you said, the beach analogy, or that moment where Adam said that's exactly the point. If there are more of us that are willing to do it, there will be far less consequences and there will be less to be afraid of. But the more we're afraid and the less we do, there will be a lot more to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think the tribes need to examine themselves. When did the Democratic Party become totalitarian and corrupt and inclusive? It's the opposite of a Democratic Party I used to be a member of and used to admire some of the stuff that was going on. And it's just now it's everything bad. It's all the most sinister sort of impulses, all in the name of good. But as Mark Chankisi always teaches me, it's a social ill is always done in the name of good, always. And this is that. This is, and by the way, if you're signaling virtue, that you're establishing yourself as better than other people because you care more, you have more virtue, you know better, dangerous place to be. Well, I'm sorry that happened, but I agree with you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've learned so much, and I know that the best is yet to come. I get to be a mom and farm, which is not something that I thought I would be doing 10 or 15 years ago. And I love my life. So, what I said when I announced that my lawsuit was over was that one of my biggest takeaways was that you can choose the path of righteousness at great cost, and you will get through it. I really believe that. And you know, maybe that's at the end of the day, my faith that, you know, this isn't the end anyway. Like this is just the beginning, this life that we're living right now. I mean, maybe that's a huge part of it, I guess. But even here, if you were just to look at it, the support, like just being on your show, for instance, you're the only person, by the way, who I've ever been on their podcast that sent me a handwritten note in the mail. So I have to tell everybody that Dr. Drew is the real deal. He sends you a real handwritten note in the mail. I just think that, you know, you can choose the path of courage and righteousness. And I did. In that moment, I decided to say no to what I knew was wrong of them to ask me to stop doing these interviews. They said I could keep my job if I wasn't just fired right away. I had the chance to comply with them. I could still have that job. And it was a good job. You know, we had our health insurance through that. It paid a decent salary. But the generosity of others around me, the blessings that God has poured on our life, and the fact that I can look out my window and see goats now and my kids playing around in the grass, I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. And I would do it all over again. I would do it all over again. I have no regrets. I just think, there is a life after that.
We appreciate what you've done also. And it is odd how these experiences, it builds resilience, it builds creativity. You find ways to make better from what you thought you had. But one last thing, although it's frustrating to deal with the stuff that we all are dealing with, it's nowhere near as frustrating as what chickens have to deal with from the male counterparts.
Yes. Do you have that video?
Yes, I do. Tell me about that. I
recently learned that, I didn't even know how roosters and chickens and hens, roosters are chickens. I didn't even know how roosters and hens had sex. I didn't know how that happened until I became a farmer. And then, you know, one day I saw my rooster jump on my hen. And so I'm like, okay, that's how it works. As my neighbor who's 88 says, it's just a hop and a pop. It's just really fast. Ducks, they take a little bit longer. They're a lot more romantic than chickens. So unfortunately, roosters, they'll pick a few that are their favorite harem members. And then the other ladies are kind of like left to do whatever. And they'll ride them so hard and so many times that they will literally just wipe the feathers off of their back. So I started coming into the coop and like, I'm noticing
very irritated. We don't have the video. You'll have to look it up, everybody, if you want to see the video. But it looks very irritated. It's on YouTube. Sex Saddles for Chicken, I think, is the name of the YouTube.
Yes, that's what I learned. So you can put a saddle on your chicken, and then the rooster will ride on the saddle, and then the feathers will grow back and everything will be fine. Now, people have been like, why don't you just get rid of the rooster? And that's fair. And I was actually get rid of this particular rooster, but he chased a hawk away one day. He was like close on the chopping block. And then I walked out and I saw this hawk land right next to my chickens, and he charged ahead like a knight in shining armor, and he chased the hawk away, and all my hens are alive. And so I'm like, okay, this is why you have a rooster. I mean, yeah, there it is. And I have to give them a shout out. That's Down Under is the saddle. They make them, I guess they're in Australia, Down Under. That's what my chicken look like. They make amazing chicken saddles, and they've worn. They're not.
God.
See, that's how, and it even has shoulder pads.
Those are words I didn't expect. Neoprene. I didn't expect to hear those words spoken today. They make amazing chicken saddles, but they do, I guess.
The YouTube comments are hilarious. There were like people, they're like, it's 2 a.m., exactly what I expected to find on YouTube, BDSM for chickens, sex saddles for chickens, So yeah, that has almost 2 million views now. I mean, that one for some reason was not censored, but my 9-foot weed in my pasture, that was too much. So who knows what's going on over there at YouTube.
You'll never be censored here. We appreciate you coming in and keep fighting the fight. And let's all keep, as you say, talking loud wherever we have a chance. Thanks, Alison. Where do you want people to go to find you?
I guess locals, AlisonMorrow.locals.com. That's probably where I'm the most active, but I'm on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram. And then my farming channel is Off-Gridish Living. So go there if you like farm stuff.
Nice. All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Off-Gridish.
Bye.
You got it. And I want to talk about what's coming up. Do you have the guest list up there for our next upcoming guest? I know Emily's been hard at work. There it is. Philip Wegman, David Kahate, Mama June and Pumpkin coming in. Dr. Van Watson's coming in and talk a little bit update on longevity. Kennedy on the 29th very kindly is going to join us. She and I have had some interesting talks lately when we finish up the Gutfeld show, because we have been together as longer than Jenny and I have been together. Kennedy I've known since the late 80s, I think, or maybe early 90s. What's that, Susan? You have to say it louder. Cannot hear what you're saying. She's going to have to come over here and whisper it to me, I guess. Yes, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do that. She goes, do the V-Shred, talk about the product. All right, I'm going to do it. So here it is. I've spoken. Listen, this is stuff that I have created. I really have waited till now because I have the opportunity to do so, and the products are so good. I want to tell you about them. So I've spent most of my life trying to prevent illnesses that shorten life. We now have new ways to extend it and extend wellness. I've been working with the V-Shred team to come up with these products. Everything I wanted in longevity and wellness supplements. So in our boost has nicotinamide riboside. It can, metal can rust, it oxidizes. Well, the biological systems behave in a similar way. And it's in a molecule called NAD is what fights that back, but NAD falls as we age. And we are less able to fight off the process of oxidation. Taking NAD doesn't work. You have to take nicotinamide riboside to raise the NAD. You could take NAD IV, but that costs thousands of dollars. But you got to push back the oxidative processes, improves health, longevity. And I added PQQ to enhance mitochondrial function, again, antioxidant, and growth, particularly in skeletal muscles, because loss of muscle mass, sarcopenia as we age, is the other big problem. The other product I have is Cinesync. I put resveratrol, try to enhance, amongst other things, again, oxidative stressors, but also fight off zombie cells with fisetin and improve killer T cell function, which has been down in the days of post-COVID vaccine. All right. So with that, I would just want to, we can kind of go up there further, sir. Keep going. Keep going. There we are. I want you to go to dr.com/vshred for 10% off. That is dr.com/vshredmd. It's the sentence. So what I think we do, what we should all be doing is taking fat. Is what, Susan, what are you taking? Fatty, right? Cinesync, 2 tablets, and the NR Boost. What I take every day. And if I look younger than my age, this would probably be why. It shouldn't happen otherwise, that's for sure. My poor body's been through a lot. Not the least is the workaholism. Speaking of workaholism, again, dr.com/vshredmd. Let's talk quickly about President Trump and his venous insufficiency. Everyone's all, oh my God, venous insufficiency. All right. I thought that the way Carolyn Levitt, that's her name, the press secretary, presented this condition was extremely well done. So what she described was that he'd had a venous Doppler, which is what you do when you look at when leg swells, particularly asymmetrical. The bruise in the hand is from his aspirin therapy, which is, I'm glad he's on mini-dose aspirin. You should see my forearms. They look way worse from taking chronic aspirin, which is a good idea. But when you get swelling in your legs, particularly if it's asymmetrical, you get a Doppler of the veins to see if there's a clot in them. And what they found in his case was that they were open. Then they did an echocardiogram to make sure that his heart wasn't failing and fluid wasn't backing up behind the heart and going down to the legs. Lo and behold, everything was clean, everything was normal. And what he has is something that most 80-year-olds get at some point, especially if you're overweight, President Trump, you got to lose some weight. It is all a function of gravity. As we age, veins, Caleb, I may have to have you throw this up here. Look up venous deep vein valves. Veins have valves in them. People don't know that. Every few inches, there are these valves so that the full effect of a column of blood is not felt by the legs. But as we age and we live so long now, those valves start breaking apart and you end up with a solid column of blood in the deep venous system. And that produces tremendous pressure out around the feet. And so fluid exudes out into the soft tissue from that column of blood. And it's called venous insufficiency. Leg edema, secondary to venous insufficiency. And the treatment is weight loss. Treatment is leg elevation, tight stockings, and leg elevation. And maybe walking. Walking can sometimes be helpful because the contraction of the calf muscles helps move the blood back up into the inferior vena cava. But it's so common. And women get it more than men, probably because of pregnancy, that already causes that problem, or things like that start happening in pregnancy. So I would say 90% of my 80-year-old patients have it. Let's remind ourselves, I believe President Trump is 78 now. Is that his age, Susan? Can you look that up for me?
I think he's older.
79, but he's getting towards that age when particularly he's overweight. And here's Caleb putting the formal definition of it: damaged valves,
79.
weakened vein
Right,
walls,
79.
the veins, the walls sort of expand. What's that, Caleb?
He's 79.
79, okay. Particularly adults over 50, though if you're 50 and getting this, I'm a little more concerned. There's other stuff. But at 80, you're getting it. That's pretty much normative. There's a lot of things that happen when you age that people don't know about and don't think about. That's why I'm promoting things to help reduce some of the consequences.
Should we send Trump some of that NR?
Yeah, I know. It's too late. You got to take it for a while. You got to take it for a long time to have the full effects. That's the other thing. Plan to take these things forever.
Yeah, also,
I'm taking them from now on. That's it.
Isn't
and
NR good
years.
for trying to get pregnant too? Isn't that a...
If you remember, we had Dr. Amy in here, and we gave the NR to our friend Kat Timpf, and she got pregnant immediately.
After freezing eggs.
After having frozen eggs and going through fertility treatment, we gave her the NR, she got pregnant. And Dr. Amy confirmed that was happening a lot.
So it's not just for old people.
She was giving between 500 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams of NR for pregnancy. So
2 pills.
Which is 2 pills, correct. So that's my presentation for this afternoon. Excuse
Somebody
me.
on Rumble said, "Someone find me a woman to impregnate."
Well, that sounds like our rant.
Get
people.
your NR out.
There it is, Elijah Fire.
Yeah,
So
he's new. He writes in all caps, and it kind of annoys some people, but he's okay. He got the
step one,
MS.
Sir. Step one to finding someone to impregnate is to stop typing in all caps. That annoys women a lot. Just some advice, sir.
Yes.
Because it's annoying.
Well, we welcome all.
We
over
like
the
you
rants.
any way you come. Just don't say
We've got a bunch
things.
of comedians on the Rumble on the free streams today. Mahalo, Lurking Feds. Just looking through what you guys are saying.
We talked about chickens, and now you've got everybody in a good mood.
I was efforting a joke when I said cow cloaca, and I was corrected immediately. Cows have vaginas; they're mammals. Like, yes, I know. It was not a good joke.
They do,
but I always rely on the internet to correct me or cancel me, depending on how it goes.
I guess it's a cap thing over on Salty Nation, Salty whatever. They use a lot of caps. Like when they go it's always all caps. And
yeah. So don't forget our friend, Salty Cracker. This is a re-cup. That is, I guess, somebody's rendition of what Salty Cracker looks like.
Did you have fun today, Drew?
I did have fun. It was good to see Jenny again. It was fun dealing with her son. He seems like a great kid.
I like Allison.
Allison is always good and always welcome. It's just her fortitude and her patience always impresses me. I mean, she just keeps moving, and that's that resiliency. Hey, look, everybody, if you want to do, there are like 3 or 4 things you can really do today to improve your life and your mental health. A, find meaning. B, most of that meaning is through service, so find service. Lean in. Lean things. We've been talking, you and I, about anxiety lately, and I had a little bit of anxiety this afternoon. I thought, I've been through so much anxiety in my life and had to lean into it that anxiety just doesn't bother me anymore. And resiliency and self-efficacy comes through leaning in, lean into discomfort, lean into challenges. Particularly when you're younger, you go for a safe space, you are impaired. You're going to abort any future growth. So and where you can make a difference for other people, by all means, do that. And what is most important is having something to offer and offering it to one other person. Not saving the world. That tends to be a fool's errand in terms of fulfilling that human need for meaning making. It's a good impulse to want to save the world, but it doesn't fill that same meaning making necessity that humans have. So lean in, resilience. Just like Allison is what prompted me to say that. She's got canceled, so she leaned into another project. She got, First Amendment was impinged upon. She went after it to learn more, to lean in. Didn't go the way she wanted. Now we're going to do free speech. Keep leaning, keep moving, keep working towards what you value, and have your compass straight, and try to develop values that are in line with your compass. Let's put it that way. Maybe we should get Rob Henderson back in here to talk about values and luxury beliefs and all this stuff again. So, all right, I've rambled on enough. We got lots of great guests coming. We appreciate Jenny and Alison being here with us today, and we appreciate you for joining us as well. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 2:00 Pacific.
Ta-ta.
Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help.